for Busch Light Ford for Stewart Haas Racing, and that is Kevin Harvick. Welcome, Kevin. If you have a question for Kevin. And behind me, we are also joined by the driver of the number 6 Violet Defense Ford for RFK Racing, and that is Brad Keselowski. If you have a question for either of these gentlemen, raise your hand. We'll start off in the front here with Lee, then go to Jenna, Bob, AC, and Greg.
Thank you. Kevin, two questions. First of all, I saw you were one of the guys that used his bumper, and I was wondering, what did it look like after, when you got done with practice compared to what maybe the old car might have looked like?
I didn't even look. That's not my job. My job is to use it, not fix it. That's the theory I'm going with this week. So I hit the wall, hit the car, and they've not said a word about it. So next time I'll use it harder, I guess.
And being from Bakersfield, this is almost like a home game for you. And, we're going to ask everybody what would it mean to win the first, but to win the first and it to be kind of in your backyard, so to speak.
Well, I think that, just the guts that it took for NASCAR to, take the leap and try an event like this, and then seeing how practice went and how smooth everything has gone, I think that the doors that are opened are just, they're blown wide open now. So, I think as you look at this particular facility, the thing that I remember most about it are Mickey Thompson off-road trucks jumping out of the top over there. So motorcycles and Mickey Thompson off-road trucks were what I watched here. Obviously, it's an iconic site, and I think for me, being close to home and knowing that we have a lot of friends and family that are just intrigued by the event, right? So everybody, the intrigue of the event is really, the most valuable piece of the event for not only what we do as teams, but for our sponsors, for new fans, for the sport in general. This is the type of event that you need to blow it out of the water at the start of the season to get the eyeballs and the people and you guys all to show up, because it's different. And that's the world that we live in. We live in different. And, trying new things and having the guts to do it is sometimes hard to do, but the rewards are pretty big on the other side when it works.
Jenna?
Question for each of you. Kevin, in terms of blowing it out of the water, what responsibility is on the drivers to blow it out of the water?
I don't think there's any. I don't think you can screw it up at this point. Okay. Personally, I don't like the event is here. The racetrack didn't fly up. Practice went good. The cars all made the corners. People were passing each other, and as our good friend Jim Hunter said, you have to have cars to pass, Kevin. So to make a good race, and I think when you look at everything that's happened, you look at the amount of tickets and amount of media passes and all the things that come with. You can't screw it up at this point. So
knock on wood.
That's my opinion. You can't. I'm telling you, okay. The race doesn't even matter.
Well, what if some walls get knocked down and you have
knock them down? We'll make them stronger next time. You already have everything in here. You already had practice. You've had everything. You cannot screw it up at this point.
All right. I'm going to hold you to it.
You can.
I can.
You could screw it up, but we'll just send you to all the haters on Twitter, and then we'll just lock your account down.
Yeah, thanks. I'm on it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Brad, your first true practice with this whole new life you have, how did that feel? And I don't know, any special talks, let's go do it guys, or anything?
Not a lot of special pep talks. We know we have a long ways to go. This team hasn't won a race in 4 or 5 years and hasn't won a non-restrictor plate track in almost 9 or 10 years. So you're not going to get where you want to be overnight. It didn't fall off to where it is overnight, and we're not going to fix it overnight, but we're damn sure going to try. And I'm certainly cognizant that there's going to be some rough moments and all those things along the way as we're working through it. We didn't have the greatest of practice sessions, but that's okay. This is a one-off deal, and we'll work through it and we'll learn from it and be better. So I'm fairly optimistic of all the things we're doing and the direction we're going, and feel like it'll pay dividends as we go.
Bob?
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. Kevin, as Lee talked about, you kind of using your bumper. Were you just trying to see how these cars react with the bumper, considering it's the first time in these cars, or were you trying to figure out what you can do tomorrow in the race if you need to pass?
Yeah, I think all the sight lines and things are a little bit different. So, I think trying to figure out how to pass and how to almost create that little crossover move to cut below somebody and just cut it a little closer than it probably needed to be. So, it's if there's one thing I've learned by watching my son race and the way that all these kids have been taught to race, like, you better go out and freaking go in practice or you're not going to learn what you need to do. So you just go out and treat it like it's a race and go from there.
So you're learning from
I'm learning to be more open-minded. I would have never done this, right? And so I would have been like, you're crazy. And then you get here and you're like, oh, that was pretty fun, pretty cool. And so I'm probably the only guy that's been here, but I think it's way better than racing through the streets of LA than that we did in the Southwest Tour car back in 1999 with the jump through the gutter and things like that. So it's we've done some different things, but this is over the top and looks great.
Alan?
Alan Cavana for Speed Sport. One for each of you. Brad, just kind of off what Kevin was saying, the expectation before you got here and the reality of this place, what's the difference for you?
Yeah, it was hard to have an expectation, to be quite honest, and I didn't come to one. But, man, when I walked in, Thursday through one of those tunnels to take a look at it, it blew me away. Aesthetically, this place is beautiful. To know that they did this in, I guess, 30 days or less, I don't know how they did it in 30 days or less. It's funny because we have all these different things we try to do, and then there's always a reason not to get them done. And then when we really want to do them, they get done. And to build this right here in 30 days, as amazing as it looks, in this venue, and probably not the most friendly of states to do it, is pretty impressive across all factions. So I think the sport has a lot to be proud of. I think I won't go so far as to say we can't screw it up, but we're certainly off to a great start. And I'm proud of our sport and proud of the stakeholders for getting us this far.
And Kevin, 100 laps or so in the car, 24 minutes. Anything surprise you that you learned that you couldn't know through sim or data or what have you?
I think that's one thing that I did learn was our sim did a pretty good job. So, I think from, what we had to what we had in the simulator was really good. So, I think as you get in the car and you kind of overcome those things, I'm like Brad, I had no expectations other than just to come here and just wing it and, have fun with it. And that's really what this event is. The Clash has always been kind of a recap of the year before with, people who have won and not won. And this is a little bit different than that, just because of the fact of, everybody's here, or 36 cars are here, all the charter cars are here. But, I think for me, I was not going to come here and have a bad time. So it's hard to do. You shouldn't do that on the first race of the year. I can show up and have a bad time, but it's not going to be the first race when there's nothing but, having fun and learning on the line.
We'll stay up front to Jeff, then go to Greg.
Which race is that going to be so we can mark it?
I don't know yet. Yeah, it won't be Phoenix. I hope not.
Kevin, obviously, you feel like this is already a success. If this concept can be applied elsewhere, what other stadiums would you like to race in?
Yeah, well, I think for me, I look at the NFL and I look at what they do in London and I look at, the things that they do. I think in order to really open doors and really, I think Wembley Stadium would be fun because I think everybody wants to do something, but obviously the weather has to be different. But this is something that you could put in the middle of the year, and I think that the All-Star race is definitely something that could learn something from this. Just because of the fact that, it needs to be more like this, instead of at a mile-and-a-half racetrack, at a racetrack that we go to all the time. It needs to have that intrigue and fun and, atmosphere that goes along with an event that is different. So I'm of the opinion that I would never do this twice, but I know that I'll probably get overruled after this happens. It's kind of like the Roval. The intrigue isn't as much the second year, so I would move it all over the place. So it's, I think this goes like everybody thinks it will. It's just going to blow the doors open to opportunities, and I'd take them.
Greg?
Greg Engel with Forbes. For Brad, you've had a chance to have the team owner hat back on because you were a team owner before. Speaking of that, now you're at the cup level, you were at the truck level then. In terms of sponsorship and having to take care of sponsors and service sponsors and attract new sponsors, how is it, what lessons were you able to bring from your truck team to here? And were there things that you learned that just blew you away? And how's the stress levels been, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's honestly been a lot of fun. I'm as happy as I've ever been, and head down, digging through a lot of things and solving a lot of challenges, and feel like we're moving the needle a lot and have a long ways to go. So I'm really enjoying that whole process. The sponsorship side is always going to be a challenge. That's part of the race. It's the race before the race, because where sponsorship funds the resources you have to be competitive, and that's an ongoing challenge that will never go away. I know races like this help a lot. There was a lot of sponsor interest for this race, and and I think I applaud NASCAR for being willing to take chances and do things like this, because it certainly helped us with those items. So a lot of positive things. I can't say there's a ton of surprises. You get into the business side and kind of get your hands dirty a little bit, and you always find some things here and there that maybe you weren't expecting. But I'm really proud of the things we've done and the things we're going to do, and feel really good about this weekend kind of helping accent all those things. So it's been a really exciting time for me.
Jerry?
Thanks, Greg.
Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net. Tuesday, a week from Tuesday, we'll be at Daytona. You guys will be on the track there. Can you just talk about the anticipation build-up to actually get the season really kicked off and underway for 2022 with the new car and everything that's going to unfold?
Yeah, well, I think you're going to have a kickoff leading into Daytona that you probably haven't ever had before with everything that happens. So I think, hopefully the weather cooperates all week and it's not freezing like it was last week, or I'll take freezing over rain. I think as you go into the Daytona 500, this is a great event, but there's nothing like coming to the green flag of the Daytona 500 with all the anticipation and build up from the off season and everything that has happened over this last year with the new car. And so you've got just a lot of enthusiasm, and driving into this event and hearing about this event is a lot like it had been 20 years ago when every race was an event, and you have that that feeling, that excitement, and that enthusiasm that goes with that event. So I think this is going to make that even bigger than it was. The car is going to make that bigger than it was. You see the reflection in ticket sales and things that come with that enthusiasm from the race fans, and I think that's only going to grow as we get done here.
Matt Weaver, Racing America, one for Brad and then a different one for Kevin. For Brad, what was it like working with Matt McCall for the first time? And is it true that the clincher for him getting the job was saying that he wanted to do this because you were the driver?
Well, I probably shouldn't answer for him on what the clincher was, but he's been great to work with. I'm really excited to have him. Jack Roush put it best to me a couple weeks ago, and he said, we took most of the one team to become our team, and if Chip was still in the sport, he would have took a contract out on me, is what Jack said. And maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but it's always nice to bring a team that had been in the playoffs and done a lot of great things over the last few years and has good experience. So there's some really smart people that came over from not just there but a few other places, and certainly the things we need to complement the other good people we had. So he's been great to work with. He's a real racer. He's raced himself as a race car driver, has a lot of similarities to me, to Paul Wolf, who I worked with in the past, and he's been nothing but first class. So I think that the sky's the limit for him, and I would probably give another comp to somebody like Rodney Childers, and when Kevin probably knows this better than anyone else, you get somebody that you can relate to and work with, and I've worked with some great people in the past, don't get me wrong, but Matt is right up there with them. I think we can do a lot of good things.
And you'll never lose a fight.
Yeah, damn, hey, that guy will karate kick some people,
right.
Man, I'll tell you what. He's got it going on.
Yes, sir.
He knows moves I've never heard of before.
And Kevin, there's only a handful of opportunities this year for Ryan Preece to race at the Cup Series level. I'm curious, what do you want to see out of him this year, starting with the Coliseum tomorrow?
Well, I think just those opportunities, for me, I believe in Ryan. I believe in the things that he does, and I think, having those few opportunities and already seeing the things that he's done for Stewart Haas Racing and knowing what the plans are to be able to implement. There's just so much that you have to take in the first half of this year from a learning standpoint. A lot of that is going to have to be done through sim and the simulator, from the test to the simulation, and there's more pieces to put all that together than there is time from the guys that are racing on a week-to-week basis. So having him in the car, having him in the cars for the Xfinity races and truck races, and being able to stay sharp and do the things that he needs to do. But there's a lot more to it than just those few races that he gets.
No, there are a lot of questions left, but we need to let Kevin and Brad go and bring up the next group. So Kevin, Brad,
Thank you,
good
guys.
luck. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Appreciate it, guys. It's great to see such a strong turnout. This is, to me, one of the best ways we could start the season. We're glad to have your support. Thank you.